everyone. Name's Anthony here. I play drums in a band called Prospects. You can check us out at Prospects Band on Instagram, and you can check out my Instagram at Anthony Sakari. Well, thanks for checking out my video today. Today we're going to be going over how I edit drums. So yeah, first things first is once you have your tracks recorded, and either you're doing this yourself or you're just the engineer getting them sent to you, you're kind of learning to do this. This is kind of how I do it. If there's anybody that has any kind of tips or tricks, they can also leave them in the comment section below. I'm still learning, so by all means, please tell me if I'm doing anything wrong. So first things first, going to want to group all these tracks. So we're going to highlight all the tracks by holding down right click and selecting all the tracks, right? Selecting all the tracks so they're highlighted, and pressing G. Pressing G will group all your tracks together. Basically what that does is make sure when you move your tracks, they all stay together, okay? The next thing we're going to do is we're going to pick our kick in, and we're going to go kick in. We're going to item processing and dynamic split. Alright, so our dynamic split. So for our kick, our dynamic split, what dynamic split's going to do is it's basically going to split at the transient. So every time the microphone picks up your kick signal, that transient is going to be split. And because we grouped, we're going to also split all of our grouped items at the same time without having to do everything individually. So the cool little thing in here, we're going to make this bigger and just go down here, make sure this is checked, this threshold. This will show you when you're picking your threshold sensitivity where your transient is. So if you have some softer hits, you can just make sure that you're kind of getting all of those. 28 works pretty good. I'm going to press split, and that splits all of my tracks where the kick transient was. Okay? Next step is make that a little smaller. Let's close that. Next step is we're going to do the snare. So the snare is a little more interesting because we have some ghost notes and certain elements. So we're just going to double left click on the snare track here to highlight the entire snare track. If we don't, we just clicked on this, we would just click one of the splits that we just created. So double click the snare track to highlight it all, right click, item processing, dynamic split, and then I want to make this a little bigger, and we want to make the sensitivity slightly more sensitive. So we do want to pick up some ghost note action. So if we listen, I guess this is where you're going to have to decide if you want to pick up the ghost notes or if you want to edit those individually. But say if I wanted to try to pick them up, just means more edits in total. That looks pretty good. We got the most of the ghost notes anyways, just for demonstration purposes, right? So we're gonna split that. So what that did is, we zoom in, it basically made little splits at all the transients of the kick and snare. And what that does is that's going to help us basically map and snap everything onto the grid. Okay? busier section. You know, these parts are pretty, got some parts that need some work. This is off the grid. It's off the grid. Right? That's just picking a random part in the song. If we go back to the beginning though, the beginning looked pretty good. So if we go to the beginning, we can do things like quantize and stuff. But sometimes quantizing can create certain problems of its own. If the grid setting is not set to the proper setting and we try to quantize, it's going to do some weird things. Let's say we wanted to make the grid to 16th notes, just to try to make sure these were lined up nice and perfect. So I like to just drag and do everything kind of manually instead of quantizing, just so weird things don't happen as often. But for instance, these ghost notes, sixteenths dragged over, right? Let's just hear that. Yeah. So I don't want to go too much into slip editing, quantizing and stuff. We'll save that for a later video. Just wanted to show you how I split up my drums so you don't have to make individual cuts for everything. Some people would prefer to slice these up individually, but this was just for demonstration purposes. Hope you guys learned anything. If you have anything you'd like to share, throw it in the comments section below, and stay tuned for more videos like this. Please like, share, subscribe. Thanks so much. Take care.